How can someone go into poultry farming now? You're welcome to Farmers Forum. My name is Prince Ifeanyi Dike, and I'd like to say that there is no nation that can survive without farmers. Farmers are very important. That is why anywhere you see a farmer, just do it, thumbs up. Now in Nigeria, we have some stakeholders that are really trying their best to ensure that food is provided for everyone. You can imagine you wake up one day, you don't have any food to eat. My wife asks me every morning, what do we have for breakfast? And if there's no farmer, what do I do with the family? That is why farmers are very important. And I have such personality here in the studio. In fact, he's a stakeholder and a consultant when it comes to poultry. Please make welcome Dr. Sunday Dosunmu. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Prince Dike, for having me.
Yes. I tell you, looking at you, you don't look like a farmer.
Well, thanks for the observation, but farmers are human beings. They are part of the society, and we have a misconception that when somebody says a farmer, it's a stereotype. Once you say you are a farmer, they expect you to have bumps on your palms. They expect you to be using hoe and cutlasses. But, you know.
How can someone go into poultry farming now, given the fact that the government policy is focused on agricultural investment now?
There are two things. The person who wants to go into agricultural investment and also the government giving support for that investment. If you want to go into agricultural investment, I will suggest to you that one, you must have the passion for it. Because if you don't have passion for it, you have challenges, you are quickly going to run out of it because we have a lot of bumps in agricultural investment. Secondly, you must have the skill. So you may have to go and learn, know what it takes, because we talk of agri science. It's a science, so there must be a knowledge. Yeah, it's a science. Whether you talk of poultry science, agronomy, or what have you, it's a science. You must learn it. You don't have to go to the university to learn it.
So that means if I want to go to poultry business now, I don't just enter into the business.
No, you must have the skill. Or you are doing it at a huge scale that you are not going to employ people who are professionals in the field. Then you also need to be in the network of people who does it, so they can mentor you, so they can see you through the baby steps. Then you must have the land. The land must have water. I've seen people who bought land only to find out there is no water. On my own farm, my first farm, I dug about 7 boreholes. Wow. Only 2 are functional. So also, you must also have a plan for your farm. This is where most people miss it, because I have to sit down with architects, with engineers to do a site layout before you are actually moving. So when you do that, also before you now begin to talk of putting your chicken on the farm, you need to have a huge investment in building, in the cages, then in equipment. And now the rule of the thumb is that if you are going to have a 10,000 layer farm, make sure you have something like 40-50 million naira to spend on that project.
That is, for it to be meaningful.
40-50 million.
Where does the average young farmer come into all this?
And now, there is a scheme that Lagos State government pioneered some time ago. They call it Agric Youth Empowerment Scheme. They pull together young graduates. They house them on an agric scheme, land in Ekpe. They were paying them salaries. They built the poultry houses. They gave them the chicken, and they were doing farming. So it doesn't have to be very big.
Are they still in existence?
They are operating today.
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't have to do 10,000. But if you are talking of an investment that is going to be worthwhile,
that's to be owned by you.
You, yeah. But for young graduates, if you can put them together in clusters and cooperatives, that, well, you have about 500 chicken for individual, that we still, they can grow from there. Okay. But, you know, when you're talking of agric investment, and so that is one side. The other side of the government support, where government, there has been a lot of talking about it, a lot of motion with that movement. They have a lot of schemes. Anchor Bora scheme.
Exactly.
You put yourself together in cooperative, the government lend you fund, then there is a off-taker. On paper, they are quite interesting, they are quite good. But in practical terms, every agricultural lending that government is supporting is channeled through the commercial bank. The commercial bank will still do the risk management like every other business.
Which is not
really compatible when you come to agricultural lending with reality in agriculture. And that is where there is a disconnect.
Because they will see it as the way they borrow to any other business.
That is the way they see it.
Most of the time, the interest is double digit.
The interest rate where government has funding for single digit for agriculture, perfect, good.
Okay.
But to access that fund
is the problem.
You have to go through the mill like any other commercial loan with the bank, which is not supposed to be. Then after they go through that process after 1 year, the money I needed like a year ago when I applied for the fund, by the time my application goes through 1 year, you know, the poultry business that I do, once you start it, it is irrevocable. You have to see through the process. So if I ask for a loan in January and you are disbursing the money to me
in December,
a lot has gone. Also, for a maize farmer, there is a time he will need all the input. The maize cycle is 3 months. He needs all the input at a particular time of the year. Once he misses that planting season that he needed all his input, you cannot reverse that process. So if he's asking for the money when he wants to plant and you're bringing the money 4 months after, he has missed the time.
So that means government should try and do something, maybe have a direct contact with the farmers.
Yeah, and also the people that are going to be operating the risk management structure for agriculture, they should be people that are trained in agriculture who can now empathize and understand the language the farmer is speaking. For poultry or farming maize, you can't tell the maize you have planted, stop growing until I have the resources. Or you tell the chicken, you know, don't eat until further notice.
How many days should the money stay before the farmer gets it?
The lead time should not be more than 3 months so that the farmer plans with it.
3 months?
Yeah. So that, if you knew that I'm going to apply, it's going to come in 3 months and in 6 months, one can plan with it. But a scenario whereby you are applying and it's taking you a year plus.
This is a very special appeal to bankers that are holding back monies that are supposed to be given to farmers. Is affecting food production. Please release the money on time so that these farmers can, you know, go to work. And if there's no funds to support them, the farmers, there's a big problem. Now, you talked about grains. The new policy on maize importation, the ban effect, and poultry industry. What do you think about it?
We do a lot of fire brigade approach. It's better you prevent the fire. You don't begin to prevent fire when your house is already on fire. For us as a people in our country, the major grains that we use in poultry is maize.
Maize, yes.
And also human being eat maize.
Even fish.
Fish, we eat maize. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were buying maize at 95,000 naira per ton. Suddenly, it went up 3 weeks ago to 160,000 naira per ton. That is almost about 70% increase. Government came up to say that most of the maize they have in the silos had been depleted because of the palliative for COVID-19 stuff. Exactly. Now, and government is saying there shouldn't be importation of maize. So how do we survive? Somebody is telling me that maize is likely going to also go up to as much as 200,000 naira per ton.
Wow.
That will affect also the cost of livestock, protein sources. If government is saying ban, then as government considered, do we have enough? Government put a lot of emphasis on rice. I expect that as we are putting emphasis on rice, we put emphasis on maize, we put emphasis on soya bean.
Yes.
Because they are all needed. But we got dependent on rice. So it was a good policy. Government want to stop importation of rice because it was stupid to be importing what you can produce with the forex you don't have. I expect that government should have done that also for maize. But now in a scenario that we are that maize that we will have used has been used as palliative and then we are having acute scarcity. I expect government to look at what is the gap we need to fill and allow importation of maize to fill in the gap. I think there should be a balance in what do we actually need to see us through this agri scarcity before the planting, before the harvest time of maize come. Let us give windows of opportunity to import just that quantity. But, you know, people always abuse waivers.
Yes. They abuse it, and at the end of the day, the farmer will always complain again.
Yeah,
It's ban maize.
Ban maize, yeah. So that's
All right.
the issues.
Yes, we're still here on the Farmers Forum. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back on the Farmers Forum, and talking with me is Dr. Dosunmu, stakeholder and consultant when it comes to poultry business in Nigeria. In fact, if you're thinking of day-old chicks, this is a man. I don't know how he produces that. Yeah, because he is the man director of Funtes Investment Limited. Now, let's talk about Funtes.
Yeah, Funtes Investment Limited is, we produce day-old chicks, broiler chicks, pullet chicks, cockerels, and we also produce point of lay.
Wow,
pullets.
Interesting. Now, I hear that for anybody to be successful in poultry business, if they don't get in touch with Funtes, something is wrong.
Well,
Is that true?
Yeah, we have carved a niche for ourselves in the Remo zone of Pan, and then Owode Egba zone and Ijebu zone and Ikorodu zone of Pan. We are a small corporation, so to say. We are not the multinational, but what we do is we ensure we give quality products, and we always try to improve on the highest ideals. So because of that, we have referrals. People come to us. Apart from the day-old chicks we produce, we also import poultry equipment. We also offer technical expertise, and then we have about, in our employment, about 8 graduates of animal science and agriculture, of animal science and livestock production. Experiences ranging from 25 years post-qualification of experience to 10 years. So we have those experts that are on the field trying to ensure that not only do we sell to the customer, we also ensure that we follow through with them so that they can have value for the money they spend with us.
Anytime I travel, those days when I was growing up with my grandmom, there's this particular problem. At times, the whole chicken will just die.
Yeah.
So what is the cause of that? Because that can discourage anybody from going into farming.
Well, any business you do is a risk. Coming to your studio today is a risk.
Is there is
And then one of the problems I have with people is when they overanalyze the risk. Well, what you mentioned is very much likely to be Newcastle disease. It's one of the viral diseases of poultry. When it comes in, you can knock off, but there are vaccinations for it. No. But me and you know that when we keep chicken in the backyard in the local environment, we don't vaccinate, we don't do anything.
We don't.
So what you see are those that have survived through natural selection. So, but once in a while, that immunity is broken and it comes, it kills them all. Some of them that survive are the ones that had the immunity. So those are the issues. So there are vaccinations to be done. There are many vaccinations you have to do when you are keeping poultry.
All right. Which policy will you advise the government to enact to drive productivity in poultry?
When it comes to policy, Nigeria is not lacking in policy. What we lack is the will to ensure that we follow through on those policies. One of the things the government has done in their wisdom was to have NISA. It is is to de-risk agriculture. CBN is greatly involved in it. They are supposed to give a guarantee to the commercial bank for agric lending so that they can bear the risk. There is a way you insure against the risk. Now, all of those things are very well thought out policies. But NISA has not really been pulling its weight.
I would expect that there should be kind of palliative this season.
Yeah, no, government came up with a lot of palliative for those commercial agric lending. It used to be 9%, but with this COVID-19 pandemic stuff and the attendant challenges, what government did was to say that in the next 1 year, you are going to be paying interest rate of 5%, which is very good, which is good incentive. Any country you go today that is good, people pay the price of ensuring that country works. People are beneficiary of this concession. They should also ensure that that money is invested in agriculture. That's a part of our GDP. During this lockdown, a lot of DO chicks in hundreds of millions of naira died in the traffic because a policeman just stopped them from moving.
Can you imagine?
So we all need to do a proper reorientation for ourselves. A container, a truckload of any item, that forms part of our GDP as a country. So when you as a policeman or security agent or an individual on the road causes that thing to be lost, that is a loss for the nation. So we should all come together and think about the fact that we don't have any other country but this one.
I know that there are so many people planning on retirement. The next thing they want to do is go into agribusiness. Do you have any advice for them?
You must, first of all, have a passion for it. Begin to school yourself. Look for books, look for training. There are training on weekends. You can, to get acquainted with what is required of you. Then begin to also look for the land before you retire, because you can buy the land and you are, even after buying the land, you are still dragging with your money less before you can move on the land. So you can begin to plan all of that. So it's a good thing, but like I said, for the area that I'm involved with, you need a lot of money.
Well, you've heard it. I'd like to thank you so much for really educating us on Farmers Forum. I want to give a shout out to all the members of PAN, and I know that they are really working hard, and I believe that government should listen to all the waivers you're asking for, and especially for those that grow day-old chicks, like our good friend here, Dr. Dosunmu. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
And we would like to say that next time we'll bring someone that will educate us on Farmers Forum. Well, thank you for watching.